high-stakes arena of global entertainment, few stories are as polarizing as the sudden rise and mysterious tactical withdrawal of the girl the world once knew as a trembling teenager. Tonight, we are investigating the 2026 status of Courtney, the vocalist who famously shattered the silence of the America's Got Talent stage back in 2018. While many expected a conventional pop trajectory, Courtney has spent the last few years navigating a complex path that took her far away from the mainstream cameras and deep into the heart of independent rock. As we analyze her current position in the industry, we find a story not just of musical evolution, but of a calculated battle for her own identity. The 2026 mystery begins with a simple question: why did a girl with 1 billion views choose to walk away from the fame machine? Before she was a viral sensation, Courtney was a student who struggled to even answer a question in class, creating a psychological paradox that would eventually define her entire career. This intense social anxiety wasn't just a minor hurdle. It was a paralyzing reality that made her explosive stage presence seem almost supernatural to those who knew her best. Investigative reports from her early days in County Durham reveal a child who lived in a state of constant internal conflict, finding her only release through the screams of 1970s rock and roll legends. For a news reporter, this raises a critical question about the nature of performance. Was the stage a cure for her anxiety, or was it the only place she felt safe enough to be her true self? The 2026 transition shows that the shy girl was never an act, but a shield she had to slowly learn to dismantle. Behind the scenes of major talent competitions, the line between reality and scripted drama is often blurred to maximize emotional impact, a reality Courtney allegedly faced head-on. Sources suggest that during her initial rise, producers heavily leaned into her nervous persona, sometimes editing segments to emphasize her fragility for higher ratings. This victim-to-victor narrative was highly effective for television, but insiders claim it placed an immense burden on a teenager who was trying to grow beyond her diagnosis. In 2026, Courtney has finally addressed these narrative manipulations, revealing how difficult it was to be the face of a brand that relied on her being perpetually uncomfortable. The investigation into her 2026 comeback reveals a woman who is no longer willing to play a character, exposing the darker side of how reality TV treats young talent with mental health challenges. While the public celebrated her record deal with its label, a secret tug-of-war over her artistic soul was reportedly happening behind closed doors. Industry documents from the early 2020s suggest that there was a fundamental disagreement regarding Courtney's marketability as she matured. The label reportedly wanted to polish her raw, gravelly vocals into a sleek, commercial pop sound that would fit contemporary radio formats. However, Courtney's deep-rooted connection to the ugly and honest parts of rock music led to a creative standoff that lasted years. This conflict is the primary reason for the missing years in her discography, as she chose to remain silent rather than release music that she felt was a betrayal of her artistry. The 2026 reveal shows that her silence was actually a powerful act of defiance against a corporate giant. To understand the 2026 version of Courtney, we must look at the years she spent completely off the grid, a period marked by heavy speculation regarding her well-being. When a child star disappears from the public eye, rumors often turn dark, with many fearing she had suffered a total personal collapse due to the pressures of fame. However, our investigation confirms that this hiatus was a strictly managed recovery period, designed to help her navigate the trauma of sudden global scrutiny. She reportedly sought professional help to manage her social anxiety away from the prying eyes of paparazzi, proving that her health was more important than her hit-making potential. By 2026, she has emerged as a survivor, using her experiences to advocate for better mental health protections for young performers who are often discarded by the industry once they stop being viral. In a move that signaled the end of her child star era, Courtney officially severed ties with major conglomerates in late 2025 to launch her own independent revolution. This was a high-risk financial gamble that saw her trading the security of a multi-million-dollar label for the freedom to record in small, gritty studios across the UK. The 2026 result is a sound that is unapologetically raw and blues-infused, a far cry from the radio-friendly tracks she was once pushed to create. By owning her own master recordings, Courtney has effectively exposed the limitations of the traditional music business, proving that a dedicated is more powerful than a massive marketing budget. This pivot isn't just a career move. It's a declaration of independence that has allowed her to finally bridge the gap between her private anxiety and her public power. The 2026 release of her project, Miss Jagged, serves as the definitive musical evidence of her transformation from a nervous teenager into a formidable rock icon. Our analysis of the lyrics reveals a deep, almost painful honesty regarding her struggle with fame and the feeling of being manufactured by the media. The music itself rejects modern vocal tuning and digital polish, opting instead for a live and loud aesthetic that honors her influences like Joplin and Tina Turner. Critics in 2026 are calling it one of the most honest rebranding efforts in recent memory, as it finally aligns her sound with her true personality. The album isn't just a collection of songs. It's a sonic map of her journey from a girl who was afraid to speak to a woman who is now demanding to be heard on her own terms, without any corporate filters. If you watch a 2026 Courtney performance, the first thing you notice is the total absence of the trembling that once defined her public image. Investigative reporters covering her recent tour have noted a commanding authority that suggests she has finally conquered the paralyzing fear of her youth. While the social anxiety is still part of her story, she has learned to use it as a high-voltage battery for her live shows, turning nervous tension into explosive movement and vocal range. She no longer looks like she wants to disappear. She looks like she owns the stage, a transition that many psychologists say is a textbook example of exposure therapy through art. The 2026 tour is selling out venues across Europe and America, proving that her authentic self is far more marketable than the shy girl character she was forced to play in the past. Even with her success in 2026, the rumor mill continues to target Courtney, with some industry veterans claiming she is difficult because of her refusal to follow the old rules. These accusations often surface when an artist, especially a young woman, takes full control of her business and creative decisions. Our report looks at these conflicts and finds that Courtney's supposed difficulty is actually a rigorous standard for her own brand. She has reportedly turned down high-paying endorsements and reality TV return guest spots to maintain the integrity of her new rock star status. There is also speculation about a hidden legal battle involving the rights to her name from her AGT days, which may explain why her 2026 branding is so distinctly different. Despite the red tape, the defiance in her current interviews shows a woman who is no longer intimidated by industry lawyers. As we close our investigation into the 2026 journey of Courtney, the verdict is clear. She is the ultimate survivor of the viral star era. She faced the double-edged sword of overnight fame and paralyzing anxiety, and instead of letting them break her, she used them to build a new kind of stardom. Her story serves as a warning and an inspiration, a warning about the toxic nature of child star exploitation, and an inspiration for anyone battling their own internal silence. Courtney has successfully unmasked the mystery, proving that true growth often requires a period of total darkness. As she continues to dominate the independent rock scene in 2026, she leaves us with a thought-provoking final note. The shy girl didn't just find her voice. She found the courage to scream back at a system that tried to quiet her.